Hello everyone, and welcome to Crafty Hour number 82 homework video. So this will be a two-part video because Crafty Hour is only an hour and we want to keep it quick and simple for you guys. This kit is using the 49 and Market kit that we jammed packed full of product for you guys. And because it is jam packed and there's so much in there, I decided to do a junk journal with it. So a junk journal is a little over ambitious for an hour. So what we're going to do for your homework is we are going to build the junk journal. We are going to build this journal as our homework, and then during Thursday's video at 6 o'clock Central Time. I have to stop and think because we're doing it earlier this time. We will decorate the junk journal and all the pages with the ephemera and papers and rub-ons. So let's get started with building the junk journal for your homework. So what we're going to have to start with is the journal itself. We're going to build the base, the journal, the hard book itself. So what you're going to need is some chipboard pieces. Now this is a pretty thin chipboard. It's not really thick. And I'm just using scraps. It has a hole in it. Don't worry about it. We're going to cover it with cardstock and you'll never even know that was in there. So what you're going to need is a front cover and a back cover. Your covers are 3.5 by 4.5. And then your spine, which is 1/2 inch by 4.5 inches. So you will need those 3 pieces of chipboard. You will also need some cardstock. So the cardstock I'm using for this project is the Harmony Hughes Craft cardstock. This is the 65 pound. I like the 65 pound because it's flexible and you're able to bend it around the corners without it cracking and breaking. And you can of course do this in any color you want. If you want to do yours in white or black or a different color, feel free to. But I'm going to do mine in the craft cardstock. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit there for you guys. Okay, so you're going to grab that craft cardstock and you're going to grab your chipboard pieces. And this item is optional if you have it. It is a cover tool, bookmaking tool by We Are Memory Keepers. If you don't have this tool, it's okay. You can still make the album. Without it, you're just going to have to do a little bit more measurements. So this is totally optional. I recommend it. It's super affordable. I think it's only $19.99 in the US, and it is metal, and I have used this thing time and time again. So to just help me kind of keep things scored and centered, I'm just grabbing my magnetic base and my little magnetic corner just to help me keep everything squared up. Again, all these tools are optional. These are just what I like to use that helps me square things up. So I'm going to put my piece of cardstock on to my magnetic mat. I'm just going to put some magnets on here to kind of help hold it down and hold it into place. Then we've got our tool. My tool I'm then going to put up in that corner, and it's just helping it. What this tool is doing is it's giving us a place to put our chipboard to build our album cover. If you don't have this tool, it is okay. You are going to come in about 3/4 of an inch from the side and 3/4 of an inch down is what you're going to do. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch. I'm just going to put my tool back up there because I want to make sure everything is squared up and not moving. And sometimes what I'll do too is I'll put my magnets on there to kind of help keep those pieces from moving also. Okay, so once you have these pieces, we're going to glue it down to this base. And it doesn't matter what size you glue it to, because the whole thing is going to be covered in cardstock. Now on this step, I like to use my liquid adhesive. I'm using my Helmar 450 because it gives me a little bit of wiggle place. Once I put my chipboard down, in case it's crooked, I can wiggle it into place. It is also a good liquid adhesive that gives you full coverage, which is what I want also. So we're just going to stick it up in that corner just like that and just press. And at that point, we can take that little template out, but we're just going to press and make sure we've got good contact of the chipboard onto our cardstock. Okay. The next thing that's handy about this is when we are putting our spine in, we need to have a little bit of gap there so it hinges closed. So we need a gap in between the spine and the cover. And that's where on this little tool, this guy comes in very handy. Again, if you don't have this tool, just eyeball it. You guys will be okay. It is 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch. If you have the tool, the way you use it is you just put it right there. Again, I'm just gonna put my magnet on there just to kind of hold it down, but it's gonna give you that gap, and then it's gonna give you another straight edge. So when you put your spine on, again, you just line it at the top, line it at the side, and that is going to create and make sure everything is in a straight line and everything is lined up for you. Okay, and like I said, I just kind of put my magnet there to kind of hold it so it doesn't shift. And this is the spine piece. Again, just using my liquid adhesive. These little junk journals are great. You can build them out of just cardstock, pattern papers. You can make mini albums. You can make the spine larger. So this spine is 1/2 an inch, and it's going to have 2 signatures in it. If you want more signatures, then by all means, just make it wider. You could do 3/4 of an inch. You could do 1 inch. You could do whatever you want. And now that I look at mine, I'm like, did I cut mine straight? Nope. I'm going to peel that back up. I am looking and I'm realizing that that is not perfectly 1/2 an inch. So I'm going to go cut another one that is 1/2 an inch by 4.5, because you do want that to be perfect. And that's another nice thing about the Helmar. It didn't grab it yet, and it gave me time, there we go, that's better, to pull that piece back up. Okay, so this is just 1/2 an inch by 4.5. Okay, we're just gonna line it up with the top of that template and then the side of the template, and that is going to give us our 1/8 of an inch gap. Again, if you don't have this tool, it's okay. You can just eyeball it. But you can see how having this tool just makes it so much easier to add these pieces in. Okay, so now that that piece is in, what we're gonna do is take this tool and then shift it over again. We're gonna shift it, and we're gonna do 1/8 of an inch here again, and then we're taking our last cover piece, which is 3.5 by 4.5. So that is our front cover and our back cover. Again, I'm just adding liquid adhesive because it allows me to have a little bit of wiggle just to make sure everything's lined up, everything's in place. and that we are all good to go. And we'll just give that a moment to let it dry. And then we are done with this portion. So this little tool is great because we want a, what was the size? 3/4 of an inch. We want 3/4 of an inch all the way around our template. So I'm now going to put it up here, and I'm just going to take my pencil and draw a line because we're going to have to cut this off, and we want just 3/4 of an inch there. Then we're going to put our tool here, and then again, draw a line. And what we're going to do now is cut off this excess pieces. So I'm just going to grab my trimmer. And I'm going fairly quick on this because this is not live. This is a recording. So that way you guys can pause it if you need to get your cuts or your dimensions or anything. So I am going at a little bit faster pace because you do have the option to pause. All right, so now we've got our cover pieces, and now what we need to do is miter the edges. If you have this great little tool, and like I said, I recommend it if you guys haven't grabbed one, but if you don't have one, it's okay. Just take your scissors and snip the corners off, okay? If you have this little tool, the next piece on here is this little cutout. This little cutout goes right here on top of your chipboard. Goes right there on your chipboard. Then you're just going to take your craft knife or whatever you have, and you're just going to cut that corner off. See how we're just mitering it? Again, if you don't have the tool, just use your scissors and eyeball it. You can see when I'm cutting it that we're not going all the way to that tip. You are leaving just a hair there. And we are going to do this to all 4 sides. These little triangles we are not going to use, so you can just dispose of those if you would like. Or you could use them for decorative corners on something else. So we are done with the mats. So next what we're going to do is I like to just take it and just fold it to kind of work that cardstock around those corners. I just take it and fold it over. Okay, then once I kind of have it worked over a little bit, then I'm going to take it and go in with my score tool and just make a nice hard crease. I kind of do the long sides first, and then I go back in and do the short side because it is going to fold over the top, like so. Now this next step, I like to use score tape, and I also like to use liquid glue, because I want to make sure that this stays stuck down. There's nothing worse than making a little mini album and it comes undone and it starts working its way out. So I'm just using the Suquang, or score tape is what we call it. And the one I'm using is a 1/2 inch. So it's a nice wide one. And we're going to put that on all 4 sides, guys. Okay, all 4 sides, we're gonna put that tape. Now we're gonna do the long sides first. So I'm just gonna press all those tapes down really good, make sure they are stuck. And we're just gonna pull, I'm gonna do one side at a time. Expose that. I'm gonna take my liquid glue, because remember I said I really want everything to stick. And just on that tabby part, I'm gonna put some liquid glue. And then fold it over and press really good. Make sure everybody, so the nice thing is the score tape is what grabs it at first and really holds it down. And then the liquid glue kind of catches up to it and just secures everything down. So you get a really nice, crisp, stuck image. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing on the corner pieces. And then same thing on the other side. All right. We're just gonna rub everything down and make sure all the glue kind of sticks. Give it a moment to dry. And then I'm kind of taking my little rub-on tool and just kind of working that gap in there. And there we have the outer cover of your book, guys. Easy peasy. So another thing of this tool is this is 1/8 of an inch kind of in here too. So you can take that tool and work it in there to do the folds of your spine. If you don't have this, you can do the same thing with your ruler or your bone folder, whatever you got. And there we have our little mini album / junk journal cover. Okay, we're gonna cover this piece in here now. So you're gonna cut a piece of cardstock that is 7.5 by 4 1/4. 7.5 by 4 1/4. And again, I'm kind of doing the same thing as I did on the other one, is I want to lay some score tape in here. And when you're putting the score tape in, make sure you don't go beyond this piece that's going to go in here. Okay, I'm just laying some score tape in here just to make sure everything sticks nice and good when we put it down. Because we do have some movable pieces in here and we don't want our cardstock to bubble up. Okay, so I'm just putting some pieces in there, kind of reinforce that. And then I'm going to go in and do this one too. And I'm going to outline it. Just going to go in here and outline it. So I hope you guys like the switch up a little bit and do something a little bit different. The crafty hours were really loving them and enjoying them. And I love the concept that the project is just an hour. It's just an hour of your time. But this kit was so big and had so much in it. And sometimes you guys have so much stuff left over from the crafty hour kits that I thought this one would be a great one to do a junk journal and try to use up a bulk of that stuff's in the kit because you have so much that is in there. Okay. All right, so now we're going to expose all of the score tapes, and we're going to add liquid adhesive to that cover, that inside piece, because that's going to cover everything up, and glue it all down. Okay, so I have that. Now I'm going to add liquid to this big piece. And I put a good amount on there because, again, there's a lot of moving pieces in here, and I don't want this thing to shift on us. I want it to stay put. And I just realized I should have put glue on the other side than the side I had measurements, because now we're going to see that on the inside of my album. So I'll just have to cover it with something else later. I put that there for you guys so you could see the measurements, and I totally forgot that we're going to see that. Okay, so we're just going to make sure everything is rubbed down really good and that everything's going to stick. And again, you can work that crease there. And that, my friends, is our mini album. Okay, that's our spine in our mini album. So what we have to do too now is we're still gonna have to poke the holes. So we have a spot to bind our signatures, and we need to make our signatures. Okay, make the signatures. So for the signatures, we're gonna grab 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 craft cardstock that's gonna match this. And I did my math on this, so we can get 1 signature out of 1 piece of paper. So we're going to get 3 out of 1. So let me find my sloppy copy and just double do my math. Yep, 6.5 by 4 1/4. So 6.5 by 4 1/4 is what we're doing. So we're going to get 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Okay? We're going to get 3 out of 1 sheet of paper. Okay, so we're going to put it in our trimmer so it is wider than it is tall. And we're going to do that at 6.5 and cut. And then we're going to flip it and do 4 1/4 and cut. And then this guy here, our scrap, he's going to be 4 1/4, so we're just shaving just a little hair off. And then we're going to flip him and do 6.5. So you're going to have 3 pieces so far that are the same exact size. We're going to repeat that with our second piece of paper. 6.5. 4 1/4. These 2 match. Putting our scrap in at 4 1/4. And then we'll flip it and do 6.5. We now need to score these. We're going to score them in half. So they are 6.5 right now. So we're going to score them at 3.25, which is directly in half. And we're going to do that to 6 pieces. 6 pieces, okay? So 3.25. So now we have 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At this point in time, you guys can pause it for the purpose of the video. I'm going to keep rocking and rolling. But for mine, you're going to ink the edges of everything brown. I just use my vintage photo distress ink. I use my little blending tool, and you're just going to ink the edges of everything brown. Okay? You are also going to ink the outside edges of your album. Okay? The outside edges, you will ink your album. And I'm going to work the folds. And sometimes when you work the folds, these little spots pop up, but that's okay. Most of it's going to be covered. Okay. All right, so you've now inked all these guys. Now you're just going to fold them in half. All 6 cards you're going to fold in half. You have inked yours brown if you want to. And you're going to put 3 inside of each other. So you're going to have 2 signatures, and each signature is going to have 3 pages. So when you're done, we're going to have 24 pages counting front, and back. Okay? So now we need to do a little measuring because we have to figure out where to put our holes. We got to have 3 holes on our spine. You can absolutely eyeball this if you want, but I am going to go in and measure mine. So this piece here in the center is a 1/2 inch. Okay, it's a 1/2 inch. Half, we're going to cut it into equal portions. So I'm going to go in and put a tick mark at 1/8 and a tick mark at 3/8. So we are dividing it into equal portions. Okay, we're going to do that at the top, and we're going to do that at the bottom. So we've got it at 1/2 inch is our spine. We're going to make a mark at 1/8 and a mark at 3/8. And then I'm just going to draw a line. You are not going to see these guys. They are going to be hidden underneath here where we poke the holes. So don't worry. Just do it lightly with a pencil. Then we're going to go in and just draw a line from tick mark to tick mark, tick mark to tick mark. Okay? So you should have something that looks like that. That is where our signatures are now going to be located. Okay, so we want to find the center of our location. So I'm using my 0 centering ruler Love my zero centering ruler. If you guys have not grabbed one yet, they are an amazing tool. They're great for bookbinding and measuring and doing stuff. So I have my zero centering, and I'm going to find this center spot, which is right there. So I'm making a mark at 0, and then I'm going to go out to 1.5, and then over here to 1.5. Okay, so now we have 3 marks. We have a mark at 0, and then 1.5 and 1.5. So it is equal spacing on our, and then we're going to do it on the other side too. So where there's our 0 mark, our 1.5, and our 1.5. Now at this point, we need to punch holes. You can use a crocodile, you can use a pick, you can use whatever you want. I'm going to use my eyelet setting tool because we need to go through several layers of cardstock, like 3 layers of cardstock and chipboard. So I'm just digging out my old school. This is my old Making Memories eyelet setter I'm pulling out. And I am using the smallest hole on there. I don't know what size it is. It's just the smallest hole. I want an itty bitty little hole. And what we're going to do is put that on those intersections and poke our holes. And see, we're going through a lot of stuff, guys. So that didn't poke a hole yet. So I'm just going to put her back on there until we get a hole. Might have to clean my little tool out. If you have a Japanese screw punch, those work wonderfully also. Okay, let's see if I cleaned enough out. I think I just need to clean her out. There we go. When in doubt, clean it out. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Took a little longer. Okay, so there's our holes. Our holes are punched. Like I said, if you have a bookbinding tool or a crocodile, use whatever you have to poke a hole. I'm then going to take 1 stack of signatures, and I'm just kind of eyeballing this, guys. So I line it up there and I center it. And I pretty much take my pokey tool and I'm eyeballing it and I am poking where the holes need to go. You could, again, line it up and use your punch. I'm just going in and using my pokey tool. So we have 3 holes in here. to match the 3 holes in there. So now we're going to have to do some stitching. You can use jute, you can use twine, you can have threads, whatever you have. I like to use these really thick, which we carry these too, embroidery needles because they have a giant head on them and they're easier to thread with your jutes and twines and stuff. I'm just going to use some heavy string that I have here. And to do this, you go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. See, that big head makes it easier to do. So what we're going to start is in the center hole. We're going to start in the center hole and go in our spine, our signatures. And then into the spine. Okay? So we're in the center hole and we're going to pull it through and just kind of hold it. You want to have something to be able to tie it with. Then we're going to go through the top hole. Going through the top hole in the album and then on the spine. Going to line up your signatures. And you're going to pull that through. And then we're skipping all the way down to the last hole. So we went in the center, back through the top. Then we're going to crisscross all the way down to the bottom hole and bring it through. Whoops. I'm going to have to do it again because I forgot to hold my piece there. So let me start over. Going through the center. Put your thumb on so you don't lose it. You could put a piece of tape there too and tape that piece on if you're afraid it's going to move on you like it just did to me. We're going to go all the way to the bottom. And then back up through the center. Back up through the center. Now you're going to kind of pull it tightly. Make sure everybody's tight. And what you're going to do too is you've got that thread in the center. So you want one leg on the bottom and you want one leg on the top. So when you go in and you double knot this, it is tying it around that string. Okay? And then you'll just cut off your excess. As long or as short as you want it. And now we have one signature in there. One signature. Okay, we're going to repeat the same thing on the other one. Okay, so we got our floss, we got our 1, our 2, and our 3. Okay, grab your second signature. Oh, and make the holes yet. Go here and make the holes. So put that in the center. Line it up. We're going to eyeball and poke your holes. Okay, so we're going to go through the center hole. And again, I'm going fairly quick on this because you guys can pause it. You can pause it if you need to. Okay, so then we're going to go to the top hole. Kind of pull it. You're going to go through the bottom hole and pull it, and then back through the center. And pull it fairly tight. And again, you want one leg at the top of that string and one leg at the bottom. Okay, we're going to cut it and cut it. Okay, so now that is your mini album, guys. We have built your cover for your little mini album / junk journal. You're going to brown the outside of this. You're going to brown all of your pages. I got to figure out a way to cover up that pin work. We will do that. So you're going to brown all that, and there you have your little junk journal. So if you wanted to add more signatures, you just make the spine wider and then just kind of put it in your distance for your signatures. I did 3 pieces of paper in one signature. Any thicker, it kind of gets hard to tie it, and then the pages start pushing out. So I usually only do 3 per signature. So the next thing you're going to do for your homework is you're going to grab your paper, 6x8 papers. And you're going to have one of each paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to have 6 sheets of paper. Okay? 6 sheets of paper. And you're going to have one cover. Okay? And you're going to use the front cover. I already cut mine up. But you're going to use the front cover. You're going to use the back cover. It was the back cover. So you're using the back cover. Whatever side has that. It really doesn't matter. They're just backgrounds, guys. And you are going to cut all of them to 3 by 4 in size. So basically you're cutting this in half and this in half. So you will see one sheet will get you 4 equal cards. Okay, 4 equal cards. So what you should end up with is 24 pages. I think it's actually 26. You're going to end up with 26. You're going to have 24 of these to put on the inside, and then your 2 extra cover pages. So you're going to end up with 26 of these 3 by 4 pattern papers. Okay, 3 by 4. Then for the outside, I picked a favorite. Pick a favorite, any favorite, whatever one you want. And that is going to be on your front cover, guys. So pick your favorite one. It is 3 by 4. I took and matted it on a piece of gold. So that gold is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 is the gold piece I matted. You could do any color you want. Then the next thing I did is I just took some crinkle ribbon. This is the Tim Holtz crinkle ribbon, and seam binding too. And I mushed brown ink onto my mat, I spritzed it with water, and I ran my ribbon through that inky stuff, okay? I'm going to tie it on the side, just in a pretty bow. Pretty little bow on the side. And you will notice I put the bow on first, I tied it on, and then I glued this panel on. And the reason I did that is when your book is untied, your ribbon won't fall off. It will be held on by that panel. And that's it. That is your homework, guys, for Crafty Hour number 82. Or if you're just wanting to learn how to make a quick, easy junk journal, there it is, guys. There is a quick, easy project. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all your guys' love and support. And again, this is Kourtney at Scrapbook-N-Memories in Harrisonville, Missouri, and you can purchase your Crafty Hour kits from us and make these fun little projects and craft along with us. So my part 2 of Crafty Hour will be Wednesday night, this Wednesday, at 6 o'clock Pacific. Normally we do 7 o'clock. We have to do an hour early and a day early because we have Maker Mania coming up this weekend. So tune in, and for the Crafty Hour part, what you will come with is these guys, and you might go ahead and pre-ink and brown these in advance too for homework, and then come with all the pieces that were in your kit. So that is the ephemera pack, that's the mini lasers, that's the frame set, that's the acetate pieces, the large laser cuts, and the rub-ons. And we together will go through and kind of embellish and decorate our little mini junk journal. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a fabulous day, and we will see you for Crafty Hour number 82 on Wednesday. Bye-bye.